Today we're going to learn about dividing fractions, mixed numbers, and decimals. First, you need to know some key vocabulary. Divisor. Divisor is the number you are dividing by. It's the number sitting outside of the door. Dividend. Dividend is the number inside of the house. It's the number that is being divided. So 12. 4 is your divisor. 12 is your dividend. Quotient. Quotient is the answer when you divide. So after you're finished dividing, 4 into 12 goes 3 times. 3 is our quotient. Reciprocal. A reciprocal is a flipped fraction. Let's take 2/3. The reciprocal would be 3/2. Okay, let's try to divide a couple of fractions here. First, we're going to start with a fraction, 2/3 divided by 1/3. The first step in dividing a fraction is to change a mixed number into an improper fraction. Well, we don't have to worry about that here. This is not a mixed number. And then with division, you've got to stay. 2/3 stays the same. Switch to multiplication. Flip to 3/1. And then you just multiply straight across, just like you did with multiplication. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 1 is 3. And 6/3 can be simplified to 2. So 2/3 divided by 1/3 part I do need to do is 2. Top and bottom simplify. That makes it a little bit easier in the end. If you get to the last step, if you go ahead and multiply and get to the last step, then you're going to end up with an unreduced fraction, and then you'll have to reduce it. So sometimes it's easier to simplify here. I'm going to look at my top numbers and my bottom numbers and see if they have a common factor. Now, I want you to see 2/3 times 3/1 written in a different way. Two times 3 on the top of a fraction line and 3 times 1 on the bottom is the same as 2/3 times 3/1, written with the multiplication sign right in between them. Because this means multiply and this means multiply. Now, when I top and bottom simplify, I'm looking at my top number and my bottom number to find if they have a common factor, and I see that they do. 3 has a common factor with the 3 down here. They both have 3 in common. So 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into this 3 one time. So I can turn those into a 1. I could have done it up here. When I multiply straight across, I'm going to get 2/1, which is just 2. And I get the same thing down here. Now, when you get to high school and pre-algebra, you're probably going to see some of your multiplying fraction problems look more like this. You may even have a variable thrown in there. So for right now, we just need to get used to seeing this 2/3 times 3/1 written with the numbers both together on the top. 1 in parentheses that shows me that's multiplication. Okay, let's go to a mixed number. I have 5 1/5 divided by 2 1/3. So let's look at the chain again. When I multiply and divide, I've got to change mixed to improper. So these are mixed numbers, got to turn them into improper fractions. 5 1/5. That would be bottom times big plus top. BB&T tells me how to change a mixed number into an improper fraction. So I put in my multiplication sign, my addition sign, and I say 5 times 5 is 25 plus 1 is 26. divided by 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. All right, at this point, I still have division, so I have to stay, switch, flip. Stay, switch division to multiplication, and flip 7/3 to 3/7. Now I'm going to top and bottom simplify if I can. I'm going to look at my top numbers and my bottom numbers to see if I can simplify. 3 is not a common factor with anything down here, and 26 is not a common factor with anything down here. So I can't simplify it. I just have to multiply straight across. 26 times 3. I know 25 times 3 is 75, and 1 times 3 is 3, so 75 plus 3 is 78. I know that 5 times 7 is 35. This is an improper fraction, 78/35. So I need to simplify it, which means you have to turn that improper fraction back into a mixed number. 78/35. The top number is too big. A 35-pound person is too little to be trying to carry a 78-pound person. The top number is too heavy. So we're going to have to divide 78 by 35. I know that 35 goes into 70 twice. We would have 8 left over. Out of 35. So 2 and 8/35 would be my answer. Okay, dividing fractions. Here are the steps that you hear in the chant also, okay? So when you multiply and divide, you want to change mixed numbers to improper fractions. Then you want to top and bottom simplify. You're going to simplify. In the chant, it says top and bottom simplify next. Well, we have to stay, switch, flip with division before we can top and bottom simplify. We've got to turn it into multiplication first before we simplify. So we're going to change mixed to improper. We're going to stay, switch, flip, and then we're going to top and bottom simplify. And those are the 3 steps in dividing fractions. All right, go ahead and pause it. I want you to pause, and I want you to try these out and hit the pause button again when you're ready to check your answers. (1/4) divided by (-3/8). Okay, when we divide, we've got to change mixed to improper. Well, these are not mixed numbers, so I don't have to worry about that. Top and bottom simplify when you divide, stay, switch, flip. Okay, I remember that in the rules earlier, we have to stay, switch, flip before we can simplify because we have to change it to multiplication first. So let's do that. 1/4 will stay. We'll switch division to multiplication, and we'll flip 3/8 to 8/3. And then we can top and bottom simplify. Are there any top numbers that are common with the bottom numbers? Well, I know 4 and 8 have a common factor. 2 goes into both of them. 4 goes into both of them. 4 is a larger number, and that's going to reduce my answer more. So let's go with 4. 4 goes into 4 once. 4 goes into 8 twice. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 3 is 3. And 2/3 is my answer. We have mixed numbers, and we're going to change them mixed to improper. So bottom times big plus top. 7 times 10 is 70 plus 2 is 72. And it's negative. Divided by bottom times big is 4. Bottom times big is 44. Plus 4 is 48. 11th. Negative 48 11ths. And then I've got to, after I change mixed to improper, I need to stay, switch, flip. When I stay, switch, flip, I want to top and bottom simplify if I can. So I'm going to look at my top numbers and my bottom numbers and simplify them. 2 goes into 72. That becomes 36. And 2 goes into 48. And that becomes 24. 2 goes into 36. That becomes 18. 2 goes into 24. That becomes 12. 18 and 12, I can see that 6 goes into both of them. 6 goes into 18. 3 times, and 6 goes into 12 twice. So now I have 3 times 11, which is 33, and 7 times 2, which is 14. A negative times a negative is a positive, so I know my answer is going to be a positive. And 33 by 14 is going to be 2. That's 28. Now, 28 from 33 is 5, so I'll have 5 left over. 2 and 5 14ths.